All right, I'm going to cover the 570 versus the 850 and also the base model versus the SP. If you're shopping for a Polaris Sportsman, those are like the two things you want to keep in mind. They also make a 1000 cc Sportsman. So I'm not going to really cover that because I consider the 850 and the 1000 to be like the same machine, just a bigger motor. And that might not be true, but in my mind, that's kind of the way I looked at it when I was shopping for one of these. So it's either 570 or 850, or it's the base versus the SP. The SP has 4 options. Has power steering, has the engine brake, it has the aluminum wheels, and it has the winch. These are both SPs, and that's what you get with that. And the base model does not come with that. So if those things are a big deal for you, the power steering is definitely going to be a big deal, whether you know it or not. Then move towards the SP. I think you can order the base with power steering. So if that's something you really want and you really want the base model, you can do that as well. So 570 versus 850, that is really going to matter probably more if you're into the motor and the motorsports part of it, for the size of the motor and how quick and how fast you can go. Maybe the 850 is something that you would prefer. The 850 is going to have probably a little more horsepower, so if you're going to plow with it, if you're going to pull with it, if you're going to do a lot of work with the machine, then the 850 is going to be a little bit more horsepower, a little easier for it. But honestly, these are both 570s. One of them is a touring, the silver one's a touring, and the black one is a just straight 570 SP. This is the same frame as the 850, the touring 570, so that's why it looks a little bit longer. And honestly, I've ridden both these on the trails for a while, and I can be honest with you, they both feel identical. Even though the frame's a little longer on this one, you don't really notice it as much. When you have 2 people on there, yeah, obviously you got another 2 inches to the frame, so you got a little more room on the seat area and then the floorboard area. But other than that, these feel the same when you ride them. So in my mind, 850 versus 570 from the frame perspective, not really a big difference. And I'll tell you this, the 570, it's liquid cooled, it's fuel injected, and it really goes pretty good. Like, people don't realize it, but this is almost 600 cc's liquid cooled, and it's fuel injected too. And it's got, I want to say it's got 45 horsepower somewhere in there. Don't quote me on that. And these things fly. Like, you put 2 people on these things and you're just hanging on as hard as you can because they go pretty good. They're quick and they're great on fuel. So the 570 is going to be better on fuel. And a lot of people don't realize that. They just, I want the 850, I want the 850. They get the 850 and the thing needs to be refueled every 4 hours because it's sucking down twice as much fuel. It's a dual cylinder, and it's a little larger cc's. The 570 is fast. It's good on gas. It's a little lighter. And in my mind, if you're going to go on the trails and you're going to ride up north perhaps, and you want to ride for a long distance and you don't want to stop, every 4 hours, get the 570. It's definitely the way to go in my mind. I've ridden the 850. I own 2 570s, and I've been on ATVs my entire life. And I tell you what, these 570 SPs from Polaris, they are just nice machines, and anybody can drive them, right? Anybody can ride these, anybody can drive them. They're fully automatic. You don't have to be an expert, and if you are experienced, they are very powerful, and they have a lot of bells and whistles on them, and you'll really like them. So I can't say anything bad about the Polaris 570 SP. I would say if you're in the market, do the research on the SP versus the base, and then also do a little research on the 570 versus the 850. Personally, that's what I did, and I landed on the 570 SP, and I love these 2 machines. The touring one is a little bit nicer because it's a little bit longer, but again, not, like I said, you can't really notice that as much as you would think. But these identical machines, really good in my mind.